Welcome to Where Her Heart Speaks, a show designed to challenge and disrupt ineffective thoughts and behaviors to help you not only embody peace, joy, calm, and certainty, but also to help you live the life you've always dreamed of living. Where Her Heart Speaks with Coach Catherine begins now.
Hi there, it's Coach Catherine. Women leaders have long been oppressed by patriarchal systems. Despite finding ways to navigate, rise above, and occupy spaces that were previously held solely by white men, there remains a blatant disregard of women leaders' qualities, talents, and abilities in far too many organizations. Listen, if you're a woman leader or a woman who desires to climb the corporate ladder and do not know the term collaborative confidence, you are doing yourself a disservice. Collaborative Confidence is the title of Dr. Heather Backstrom's newly released #1 bestseller, wherein she provides the framework, facts, implementable strategies, and so much more about how women leaders can activate self-awareness, amplify their authentic talents, and accelerate workplace change. If you are ready to activate, amplify, and accelerate, go to www.heatherbackstrom. That is HEATHERBACKSTROM.com. www.heatherbackstrom.com to purchase your copy of the #1 bestseller, Collaborative Confidence. And welcome back. I'm Catherine James, international speaker, best-selling author, trauma-informed transformation coach, and your host of this show, Where Her Heart Speaks. This week, we are talking about a topic that rubs me oftentimes the wrong way. Oftentimes, I am hearing more and more conversations about this particular topic, and I just don't think that people are understanding this topic in the correct manner. So we're going to dive in. We're going to look at it. We're going to see if we are out here doing this thing called self-sabotaging ourselves, or if maybe something else could actually be going on. So I asked the question, do you ever think things would be perfect if I could just get out of my own way? Or can you recognize, or have maybe you identified times when you have intentionally done something or not done something that has either impeded your progress or negatively impacted the achievement of a goal? Or did you maybe make a decision to become more healthy only to later succumb to your favorite dessert? If you could see me, I would certainly be raising my hand. And I would say, if you too had just raised your hand or maybe said, yeah, that's me, or thought, yes, I have, you at one time or another may have also wondered if you're someone who is prone to self-sabotage. There's been quite a bit of conversation around this topic, self-sabotage. I've seen numerous articles. I've seen posts on social media, much conversation. There's articles, scientific articles about this topic, self-sabotage. But what exactly is self-sabotage? And you may feel like you may already know what self-sabotage is. You might feel as though you've taken in some of the information that's been shared on these various platforms, and maybe some of these definitions made sense to you or they resonated with you. And you may feel as though self-sabotage is something that is within your control. You may feel as though self-sabotage is something that you have power over. And I will just say, in short, self-sabotage is simply conducting yourself in ways that do not support your desires. And most people, according to the definition, behaving in a manner that does not garner what it is that you want, have sabotaged themselves at one time or another. Most people. Most have sabotaged themselves at one time or another. And I would say that you've likely done it too. Like you said you wanted a promotion, but then you missed several deadlines. And you just knocked yourself out of the running. Maybe you've dreamed of having a beautiful, romantic relationship, and although you had it, that person that was ideal, they had everything that you said you wanted. They had everything that you wrote down on your must-have list. They had it all. And despite them having it all, you often and regularly created drama. You often and regularly created chaos, so much that the relationship ended. Or maybe you said you wanted to lose weight and you continued eating unhealthy foods. Listen, I want you to understand that you're not alone. You're not alone. I've done it too. And as I reflect back over my years in the corporate sector, I know that I unconsciously and sometimes consciously delayed my entry into management positions by doing this thing that I now call company jumping. During my early years, the early years of my career, every time I would get close or every time I would get considered for promotion, I would find reason to leave the organization. Now, according to research, people both knowingly and unknowingly sabotage themselves. People purposely make decisions or take actions that either keep them where they are, or they make decisions or take actions that pushes them back. But why? Why would anyone do such a thing? You may be asking. I know that I asked that question a number of times. Why would someone do something that was going to keep them stuck? Why would someone do something that was going to keep them where they were? And then, over time, my wondering was a little different. You see, I started questioning whether those behaviors or actions were really or are really self-sabotage. Like, that's what I wanted to know. Is it really self-sabotage? And I know that you're probably thinking, and I can actually hear or sense some of you all screaming at me like, yes, of course it is. Of course it's self-sabotage. Based on the definitions that we've heard. Based upon the examples that we've seen. It meets the criteria, right? So I can hear you like, yes, of course it's self-sabotage. And here's what I'll say. After gaining a better understanding of trauma responses and how our nervous system works, I would argue that there's no such thing as self-sabotage. Listen, I always cringe when I hear the words self-sabotage. And I cringe because it sounds and it feels as though people are being blamed for purposely staying stuck. It sounds and it feels as though people are being blamed for purposely making a mess of their lives. And I honestly don't think that they are. This approach, this term self-sabotage, can cause people to experience unnecessary feelings of guilt, unnecessary feelings of shame. And I don't think that that's helpful in any way. It doesn't make anyone change. Like, guilt or shame has never caused people to feel good. It makes them feel bad. And if we're feeling bad, it's that much more difficult to bring about change. So again, I just don't believe that anyone would intentionally create and implement a plan to fail or not achieve their goals. I just don't believe that. So after pondering on this term self-sabotage, after pondering on these self-sabotaging behaviors, I arrived at another conclusion. And what I determined was that people aren't sabotaging themselves. What they are in fact doing is protecting themselves. And what I mean by that is the brain and the body are hardwired to keep us safe. Many impactful experiences are implicitly stored in our bodies. And oftentimes we're unaware of this storing. We're unaware that it even happens because it happens automatically. Implicit memory is memory that is unconscious. Implicit memory is memory that is automatic. And implicit memory is memory that recalls past experiences without thought or cognitive processing. It just happens automatically. And implicit memory is the reason we don't forget. We don't forget how to do things like brush our teeth. We don't forget how to do things like walk or drive a car or ride a bike. That's implicit memory. And it's also the reason we react to things, people, and situations in certain ways, even when we don't know why. And I just want you to maybe think about watching a movie. And when we're watching a movie, we always know when something's getting ready to happen. We always know when something's getting ready to happen because there's this music that's played. You know the music, right? When we hear that music that every movie has, we begin to feel the activation in our bodies. Maybe our hearts start to beat faster, or we start to clench our jaw, or we all of a sudden feel the anticipation. Something's getting ready to happen. Why is that? We've been programmed. Based on the number of movies we've watched in the past. Our bodies and minds know what that music means. And so the moment it hears the music, it reacts. And guess what? Our bodies have the same kind of programming. It has that same kind of programming when it comes to our experiences. Some experiences elicit emotional responses, and those responses are stored in our bodies as things to watch out for. These emotions, like, they're attached to stimuli or incidents that we may or may not be aware of. But anytime we have an experience that feels like the emotion or elicits the emotion, that was caused by that original incident, the warning signs go off and the brain and the body detects a threat and it goes into protection mode. And here's the thing, neither the brain nor the body knows the difference between what's real danger and what is determined as perceived danger or threat. And it's unable to distinguish between the past and the present. And what I mean by that is it's unable to say, oh, that happened back then, and this is now, so there's nothing to worry about. It does not have the ability to separate time. It doesn't have the ability to distinguish between past and present. So what it does is it simply reacts as if we are back in the original incident. Dr. Stephen Porges, developer of the polyvagal theory, coined a term called neuroception. And he described neuroception as the body's internal surveillance system. The body is continually looking for and responding to cues of safety and threat. I always imagine like binoculars, just kind of roaming back and forth. Like we have this internal system, if you can imagine like binoculars inside of us, and they're just scanning our environment. They're scanning from within. They're scanning our environment, and they're scanning others and our relationship to others. Looking for cues, asking the question, is it safe or is it dangerous? Automatically, this is happening. And when the body detects threat, it returns to its most primitive survival mechanisms, which is simply to immediately react without thought. Like to stop and think would potentially have cost us our lives back in years ago. It would have cost our lives. So we don't have time to stop and think about what should I do. The body is designed to just react, and the nervous system responds by way of fight, flight, or freeze, and sometimes shut down to keep from dying. All of this is going on without our knowledge. And this is why when, say, a big scary dog comes charging at us, our reaction is to just start running. We don't think about it. All we know, we're like, oh, and we have to take off. We just do it. Why? Because thinking could cost us our lives. And because we are hardwired for safety, we automatically do what is needed to be safe. I was talking with a lady the other day, and she shared a story about walking her dog. And she said, as they were walking, she began to see leaves moving, like from the corner of her eye. She could see leaves just kind of rustling about. And in that moment, her brain registered that those were leaves. So she continued walking. But her dog, however, became frightened and began to bark at the leaves. And the lady said, even though she knew in her mind, like in her thinking mind, that they were leaves, she had already identified them as leaves. When the dog got scared and started barking, she in her body felt fear. The body responds to real and perceived danger. Here's the thing, a vicious dog, as you know, is real danger. But feeling like a leaf can harm you? Probably not. That's perceived danger. And again, because the brain and the body cannot determine the difference, it responds in the same manner. It responds as though both instances are real. It responds as if you are in real danger, and it simply reacts. This same thing happens even when we experience things like fear of failing, fear of succeeding, fear of being rejected. Whatever fear we have, those fears may or may not be real fears, but the body interprets them as real. So if you want a promotion, but you continue to miss deadlines, it could be that you're unconsciously reacting to perceived danger. If you somehow believe unconsciously or consciously that you may fail, and failure is the worst thing a person can do in your eyes, that registers to the brain and the body as a threat. And instead of allowing you to risk experiencing the pain associated with failing, it reacts, causing you to behave in a manner that prevents you from applying for the job in a timely manner. And it deems that now you are safe. This is not self-sabotage. This is self-protection. Let's say you desire that romantic relationship that I talked about, and you have an unconscious fear that you will be left again. Being in a romantic relationship registers to the brain and the body as threat. And instead of allowing you to risk experiencing the pain associated with abandonment, again, your survival instincts kick in, causing you to behave in ways that will damage or end the relationship. And it deems that now you are safe. This is not self-sabotage. This is self-protection. And here's another one. Let's say that you have an unconscious belief that being seen is unsafe. Being seen is unsafe because you were touched inappropriately as a child. Now, as an adult, you want to lose weight, but you continue to fall off your meal plan because being seen has been stored as dangerous. Falling off your meal plan is your brain and body's way of ensuring you do not have to ever again experience the pain associated with being seen. And it is deemed that now you are safe. Again, I say this is not self-sabotage. This is self-protection. Creating or changing your behavior to mirror or support your unconscious beliefs is the nervous system's way of keeping you safe. So the truth of the matter is, you're not sabotaging yourself. You're protecting yourself. Doesn't that feel so much better when we know what's really happening? So can we just pause and appreciate our nervous system? Can we appreciate the fact that it's operating as it was designed to operate, keeping us alive, and that we are still alive? So I want to give you 3 things you can do to help yourself move beyond this protection state of protection when you are simply perceiving threat. So the first thing you want to do is identify and acknowledge your emotion. I just love that the body gives us signals. And when you think about accomplishing that goal, or when you think about completing that task, Notice what you feel in your body, and then name the emotion associated with that feeling. The next thing you want to do is identify and address the root cause. For instance, the woman who misses deadlines must question whether she really is horrible at time management, or if she is really just afraid that she may fail at the next level. Right? You got to question that. Or the woman who continues to have, say, maybe financial challenges, no matter how many increases she receives, she continues to find herself having more month than money. You got to question whether she's really horrible at managing her money, or if living in abundance is foreign and therefore scary to her nervous system. You want to get to the root cause. And then the next thing you want to do is address the real issue. Once you understand you're dealing with fear, once you understand your nervous system is keeping you safe, you can overcome it by walking through what is true. This will help your neuroception, your internal surveillance system. It helps your brain and body understand that you're not in danger. It helps your brain and body understand that you're not going to die. And one of the ways to move our brains and our bodies out of this protection mode is by regulating the autonomic nervous system. If you've thought you were sabotaging yourself all this time and now realize that you've just been protecting yourself, or if you're wondering what else you can do to move forward, I'd invite you to imagine what it would be like if you were able to attain your goals with ease. Imagine what it would be like if you didn't have to live with the story of you're continually getting in your own way. And imagine what it would be like to live without feeling defeated. Regulating your nervous system is the answer. And I'd offer that we do it together. Let's regulate your nervous system together. And you may not understand what that term is, but trust me when I tell you, I have studied long enough and have enough tools in my tool belt to help you, teach you, and show you how to regulate your nervous system. And not only regulate your nervous system, but quiet down your amygdala. And you might be saying, well, what the heck is an amygdala? And an amygdala is the area in your body or the area in your brain that's responsible for detecting threat. Your nervous system is the area in your body with neuroception that's responsible for detecting threat. And the amygdala is the area in your brain that's responsible for detecting threat and activating those fear-based behaviors. So when those areas are deactivated, you're better able to focus, you're better able to use logic, and you're better able to use reasoning. You're better able to accomplish your goals, attain the task, those desires that you have set out to attain or accomplish or achieve. When those areas have been deactivated, when your nervous system is regulated, and when your amygdala is deactivated, you can then step into the area of your brain that is responsible for logic and reasoning. So let's do that together by using some simple techniques. You can do this by simply scheduling a free clarity call by going to www.calendly.com/Coach Catherine. And as I wrap up here, I want to just encourage you to remember the cues. You may not choose to schedule, because many times we allow our unconscious mind to get in the way. And when our unconscious mind gets in the way, that is, again, looking like self-sabotage, where it's really not self-sabotage, it's self-protection. And you're simply protecting yourself from that fear of the unknown. What is the unknown? What is this going to look like if I make this call? That feels scary. So the nervous system goes into self-protection mode. So again, I want to encourage you to identify and acknowledge your emotion. Let's identify it, name it, identify and address the root cause and the real issue, addressing the real issue, which is essentially the root cause. But let's get in there and do that. And when we clear the physiological sensation out of the body, we can then allow the brain to take over and truly get to those things that we desire to live, to have in our lives. So this week, my prayer for you is that you will move in spite of the unconscious, self-sabotaging perceived behaviors. Identify it as a self-protection and know that with a simple rewiring of the brain and regulating of the nervous system, you can have what it is that you desire to have. And as I sign off, I want to remind you that in this life, we get to choose to listen from which your heart speaks, and choose to live a sensational life. Peace and blessings.
Thank you for listening to Where Her Heart Speaks with Coach Catherine, where Catherine aims to challenge and disrupt ineffective thoughts and behaviors to help you not only embody peace, joy, calm, and certainty, but also help you live the life you've always dreamed of living. Follow Catherine on Facebook and Instagram at I Am Catherine James, and visit www.catherinejames.com. Remember, to live the life of your dreams, you must go within and return to the place where your heart speaks.